Welcome or welcome back to Solidarity on the Bench, a podcast for 20-somethings by a 20-something. I'm your host, Katie Yu, and on this podcast, we talk about everything and anything with a focus on mental health and personal well-being. New episodes every Tuesday at 11 a.m. PST. I am joined today with llexliftz, aka Alexis Williams. I am so excited. Honestly, I have to say, I've been following the Buff Unicorn since this summer, and I started following you around the time you got sponsored by Gymshark. So you're like push-ups to make Gymshark notice you. And I saw that you got sponsored so freaking quickly. And it's like it blows my mind that we're mutuals now. So thank you for coming on the podcast. Thank you for being my first podcast, guest. I'm a little bit nervous, I'm not gonna lie. I've never actually had someone who's not my direct friend be on my podcast, so you are the first. Thank you so much. But Lex, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I am so excited. For everybody that doesn't know me, I am basically kind of a fitness and lifestyle. I don't like to say influencer, but
Mm,
content creator, I will say. But actually, I was following Katie before I ever started for almost a year and a half on my own personal Instagram. So whenever I saw that she was following me, it was so funny, and then we just ended up kind of clicking instantly. But yeah, that's just a little bit about me.
just like very brief overview for the people who don't know you. Give me a brief overview of who you are and what you do in the online space.
Such a loaded question. Okay. So originally it started as me posting um really actually I started like a year ago. Like exactly a year ago because I started when I got home from college in December.
Congratulations.
Thanks, little birthday.
Little 1 year anniversary
Let's
birthday.
go. Oh gosh. Um but I just started because I was literally in college and lonely and had literally nothing going for me. Um, and also I just recovered from a 4 year long anorexia thing where I got hospitalized and gained a bunch of weight back to weight restore. And I just wanted to start like showing people that you could be happy in your not thinnest body or
Mhm.
like I don't know, just something along those lines. And I just started posting, and like immediately it went off. And then sadly, it got stuck where people thought that I was like an eating disorder recovery account, which I never wanted to be. And that's why there are so many Reddit threads about me. Girl, there's so many. I've gotten
Wait, you're
shadow banned
kidding. I
so
need to
many
go Google
times.
you after this.
Girl, please actually
Actually,
you're
don't.
gonna you know you can because it will hurt your feelings because it's not you. The things that have been said are crazy, but so sadly I got stuck like where people that's the only thing they associated me as, and like that's not what I wanted to be known as. I didn't want to be known as a girl with the eating disorder. I'm like, because like dude, that's like not who I even am. So I tried to mainly shift my account to lifestyle and health, so like health including every part of life and not only working out, because if your mental health is crap, you're like don't even worry about your physical health, because I mean like one is a reflection of the other. So I started trying to prioritize that more, and I post on every platform actually except Pinterest. Like who posts on Pinterest? But yeah.
Me
Oh, but
sometimes.
you do? I'm sorry.
No, but like not even consistently,
I
like not
post
enough
I
for me
post
to
like a picture
ever.
like once a month.
No, literally not for me to ever like plug it for myself. Like I have my Pinterest account and then people follow it, but I'm like, this is my personal
I
Pinterest.
didn't mean like cuz I
No,
have
no, no, no,
Pinterest
no. You're
and
so
I use
good.
it. I'm just saying like as
Yeah,
an
not as an influencer.
influencer.
Who posts as an influencer? Like not me. Definitely not me.
That was like I
That's
was
so
so
funny. No, 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 no. Don't even
I'm
worry.
so sorry. That's amazing.
So I want to start off every guest episode with this one question. And I think I'm going to ask you this question in the name of being solidarity on the bench, about asking for help, about leaning into people, and about feeling that solidarity. Can I ask you, when was the last time you asked for help?
So, yeah, it's actually so funny because the day you sent me these questions, I had actually asked for help for the first time in a really long time. I had to ask my parents for help because right now I'm like living at home in between school. As you know, like I'm on a gap year. And yeah, I had asked them for help, and just concerning like trying to find a new school to go to. Also now, like not having a job right now is really difficult as well. And I don't like asking for help. I'm a very independent person, so I
Mm-hmm.
kind of perpetuated that feeling of feeling as if I was a failure. But it was a really good conversation. It reminded me that whenever I do feel that way, like whenever I do feel as though I am struggling alone, it just I need to not be alone, and I need to not isolate myself, and know that it's okay to ask for help. It's a very selfless thing. But then also, it's such a compliment to other people when you ask them for help, because it means for them, they know that you trust them. And it's just a cute little blessing on both people's ends.
No, it's so funny that you say that because I also, like, to answer my own question, I had to ask for help for the first time in a very long time. And I'm the same way, very hyper independent, very much like if I can do it myself, I will. And I was talking to my sister. I basically had to call her because I was like, I can't leave my couch. I haven't eaten in days. Like, well, okay, I've eaten, but like the mental energy it takes for me to grocery shop right now is
Yeah,
so much.
literally do
I
anything.
no, exactly. And I'm like, I can't leave my couch. I can't do anything except for like what has been on my calendar, and none of that is filling my cup. And I'm depleted and I don't know what to do. And she was like, okay, like what is gonna help you right now? And I was just like, groceries. And she came from a soul cycle class and she went grocery shopping for me. And she came and she was like, I bought you avocados and bread and smoked salmon and eggs and like 2 packs of soup and like, let me make you dinner. And I was like, this makes me very deeply uncomfortable. Even though you're my family, even though like I know that you're going to
Yeah.
do this unconditionally, like for me to have asked you for help that is not just emotional support, this is something that I've never really done before. And it makes me, again, deeply uncomfortable to like admit that I'm struggling and then also accept the help that you're trying to give me, even though I know you would do it, even though I didn't ask, you know? So I
Yeah.
think there's something so profound and so strong about asking for help and like being vulnerable in that way that you kind of described, especially with family.
Yeah, yeah. Like just I don't know. I think that some people are blessed to grow up in an environment where asking for help didn't make you feel like a burden, but like a lot of people are made to feel that way, even if it's not intentional. It just kind of comes off that way because people that you're asking for help already have so much on their plate. But I
Mm-hmm.
think that it's whenever I mean like oh my gosh, yeah, like I can't imagine like my sister coming and cooking for me. Um I would be like,
My God, the way it made me feel so bad, even though
and
like
it
it took
shouldn't.
her like 2 seconds to put
Yeah,
everything in the oven. I was just like, and then I beat myself up for it, being like, why can't I do this for myself? Like, why can't I pop to the shop and get something for myself? Why do I have to make someone else come for me? And then I was just like, I have to remind myself that it is such a privilege to have that relationship with someone. It is,
yeah.
you know, it's such a sign of trust to ask for that help, and it's such like a sign of love for them to do it unconditionally and to know exactly what you need before you even say it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I know that actually because my sister skipped school one time for me. You know that trend going around on TikTok right now? It's like because their world didn't end when I was 17. Have you seen
Yes,
that?
yes.
Okay, so it's actually so funny because when I was 17, I did want to unsubscribe from life very extremely. And she actually was in college at the time, and she literally came home one day because I told her, I was like, girl, I'm not doing good and I think I'm about to jump into traffic. And she came home
Sorry, like
like,
not funny, but also like my
girl,
my way to
looking back
cope with
now, no,
anything
it
is
was not
like
funny. I was going through it,
laughing.
but I joke about my trauma, so it's okay.
It's okay, me
But
too. Where's the band-aid?
yeah, like so, but she literally got all of my friends and everybody that knew me, all my loved ones for Valentine's Day, got them all to write a letter to me instead of getting me, girl. When I tell you, I have all of those letters to this day because like she like literally came home, she made it a point, and somebody told her that she shouldn't have come home to be with me that day, and somebody very close to me. And so like in that moment, it was like, wow. it showed me that the people that actually love you, your well-being is so much more important to them than the little things that they can do, like that they're doing, and that the people that actually love you won't mind going one step or even 100 steps out of their way for you, you know?
Mm. Yeah,
But
100%. Oh, I love that. I came up with that question when I was like going through it myself, and I was like, you know what? What is the epitome of solidarity is like realizing you don't have to do it alone, and also realizing that everyone else around you is asking for help in some way. And so I love that
absolutely.
answer, and like makes me feel warm and fuzzy to be like, oh my God, both of us kind of like went out of our comfort zones and asked for help very recently, which makes me very happy.
No, it means we're like on the same like wavelength.
No, literally, I'm telling you, you and
The
me.
same the same vibe. Let's be one of those
Exactly.
girls.
So one of my questions, especially since you just talked about it, was like, I don't know, was it I was on your live or like your podcast? Listen, I'm a llexliftz like supporter, right? Who
Stop.
knows where I got this from? But you spoke about how, oh, maybe it was your stories. You spoke about how you struggle with your body image and like the way that you look. But even when you feel your worst, you still have to go out and you have to take pictures and post on social media and like be a
Oh,
content creator. So
yeah,
as
that was my
such,
podcast.
yeah, okay. So like can you talk me through what that feels like and like what boundaries you're drawing for yourself?
Yes, that's actually such a great question. I think that a lot of people, I really love that topic because especially whenever for influencers, your brand is you
Hmm.
and when like what do you do when you don't like you? Like you can't just stop, you can't just quit. And so I honestly was talking to a guy for like a while and then it's like when it ended, I I really like go through it when I go through that kind of stuff. Losing people is like a really big deal for me. And so I just stopped. I really stopped working out. I didn't work out for like honestly a whole month. Um, but I was having to go to the gym just to take pictures for these clothing brands, or like I got sent a paid partnership for a video and I literally recorded it. And when I sent it to them, they told me that it wasn't like I didn't look good in the video. And I was like,
I remember you talked about that, yeah.
girl, I was distraught. I'm still like going back and forth with them in these like in emailing trying to remaking the video over and over again. And whenever because usually it's okay if I don't like how I look, but it's whenever other people are also like, yeah, like you don't look good, that I was like, wow, okay, maybe I don't. But what I have learned, thankfully, over time is that truly your appearance is not the most important thing about you. I know good and well that the people I love, I could care less about what their body looks like, and that's the same way that people feel about you. Um, like whenever I was because so little short story time in May, I was extremely lean because I didn't have enough money for groceries. So I was also in college by myself and I was shredded and I looked amazing. Like I was bodybuilding stage ready 24/7. Um but legit the way people treat me now that I've gained like 20 pounds since then, which is absolutely fine. They don't treat me any differently. Nobody thinks I'm any less like valid or knowledgeable because I don't like look like that. It does also really matter who you surround yourself with. So, um, I used to surround myself with people who were constantly talking about their bodies or like constantly like, I shouldn't eat this or what diet am I on or have you seen what she looks like? And I think that surrounding yourself with people who care more about what you emotionally offer has benefited me so much. And then also not isolating myself because like I said, I'm really bad about that. And every time I isolate myself, I'm like just a downward spiral.
Hmm.
But yeah, it is difficult, but I'm also so blessed. I think that all problems are a privilege because and then like I've really had to rewire my brain to work like that. So a year ago, I would have been like, you could not tell me that a year from now somebody would be telling me that my like I just didn't look good enough to be paid for a video. Like that is so cool, you know? So I
Mhm.
think like taking time to step back and realize that even your worst problems are still a privilege.
Yeah, 100%. And I really resonate with a lot of what you said because I'm not a gym influencer. I don't really post my body, and there's no obligation for me to do that.
Yeah.
But I do post my mental health. And sometimes I think about the way that I kind of parade my problems, and it makes me feel awful, like, when I am not doing okay, feeling the need to post about it, or, like, I don't know about you if you have bad body image days, do you ever feel the need to, like, post about it and inform the people that you're not doing okay in the name of authenticity?
That is such a good question. I love the way that you worded that. So, actually, yeah, like I totally get what you're saying. Like you feel as though like you have to share your problems. And so, um, I actually have been called out before. Ooh, not me getting a text message. Wow, she famous.
She's so popular.
Girl, no, it was from my college. But no, I have been called out before by people close to me that I was too open. Um, of course, it was from generations older than me, so they don't understand our generation just because we are so open. But I feel like sometimes there is a point where you don't need to share things, especially for me. I learned that if I was ever struggling, especially with food or anything, I would never share that
Mhm.
because that's not going to help anybody. It's not going to help anybody to know that I like, hey guys, I've been so anxious that I haven't been able to eat enough, um, and I have been doing unhealthy behaviors. Like that's not going to help anybody. I think that sometimes being broad, so like, hey, or when I was dealing with bad body image, I was definitely eating. I wasn't not eating. Not making yourself a trigger intentionally is just what's important. But
Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like you have some really good boundaries. Honestly, like even in a year, the fact that you not only have like blown up so much, both on Instagram and on TikTok, but have been able to figure that out mentally for yourself is really impressive. I've been doing what I've been doing for about 3 years now. And I think that the conversation about digital boundaries has only ever come about in the past year for me. So that's 2 years after I started. So could you talk through a little bit more about like what sort of digital boundaries you have with yourself and like what you post online, and mentally how does that work for you?
yeah. First off though, congrats to you. Like
Thanks.
just because you learn like later doesn't mean you didn't learn. So still props.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
so for me, digital boundaries, so first off, the comments and stuff that you will get are crazy. The comments that you can get from people that have literally no clue who you are insane. So first off, in the past year, I thought before I ever started social media that my feelings could not be hurt, but literally now, people have told me things in person. I'm just like, dude, if you saw the things in my DMs, you would know that you cannot hurt my feelings. But
Mm,
also, I know that giving the people more things to have something to create something out of gives them more power. So I don't post anything about my family at all. Nobody has a clue how many siblings I have because I do want to keep them protected because social media, I mean like bro, if you've ever seen what 4chan can do to people, 4chan has found people and
mhm.
literally killed them. So I'm
Mhm.
like, and I know that I'm already a controversial figure, so I never post relationships or anything. And then also I don't okay, so I am a very devout Christian, but I don't post about that a lot because I think that, and this is my unpopular opinion, but I think that if I am as strong of a Christian as I say I am, then people should be able to see Christ in me and see how I'm different through my acts and through my behavior and demeanor rather than having to post a Bible verse every single day because that Bible verse ain't saving anybody. It's like my acts that will lead somebody to ask, you know? So that's just one of my big things. I don't like to talk about religion or relationships, um, because again, at the end of the day, who's that actually helping? It's
Mm-hmm.
like it's really not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I agree. I also have kind of strayed away from talking about relationships, talking about family matters. I'm like, just because I'm a public figure doesn't mean that every part of my life needs to be
it's
public. And
public.
I think some people forget that, right? Is like, as much as I want to be wholly and completely myself on the internet, there comes a line of like safety and of like mental capacity and like mental health wise where I'm like, this is just not something that I want to talk about. And going back to boundaries, something that I've had to learn is like, I really love what you're saying, and the take that you have on it is like what would help the people as opposed to like just posting willy-nilly, like not giving
Oh
a
yeah.
f about what you say, because I think sometimes I forget that like yeah, people like actually read what I say. Like it resonates with some
Yeah.
people, and it's like I have to not that I have to be careful, but like, when I'm going through my worst, I don't need to publicize that on social media. I don't need to feel the need to profit off of my bad mental health, and that's something that has
Yeah.
only come about very, very recently.
Yeah, actually that's such a good point. Like because especially for you as somebody whose main thing is mental health, like I think that it could just be detrimental to you in the future, but you probably already realize that like if you do go to social media every time your mental health is doing bad and it does like profit, okay, well when you're doing well, it's like, well, the people don't like when I'm doing well. Like they want me to be
Mhm.
struggling. And like that's just not true. It's just that sometimes struggling is more relatable.
Mhm.
But yeah, like it's really big that you've figured that out because again, a lot of people don't ever even realize that. So again,
Yeah, I mean, it's
props to
kind of
you.
it's like fucked up that like videos of me crying do exponentially better than
Yep.
videos of me being happy. And it's like, well, what kind of message is that sending to my brain, my disordered mental health brain, where I think that like I need to make myself feel less than, make myself feel guilty, make myself feel worse so that I can be relatable to the people. And so that is something that
Yep.
has come about very, very recently. I had to not that I had to, but like I wrote a thesis on this about the performance of authenticity by mental health influencers in an attempt to like understand what exactly people do to make people feel like they know them, this parasocial relationship. And what I found made me want to get off the internet because I was like,
Yep.
oh my God, it's like not that it's fake, but it's like so crafted. And we're not even the big celebrities. We're just like
Girl.
tiny little influencers.
But the
So,
thing is though that like it's even worse for us because we still interact. So like the big
mhm,
celebrities, they never interact with the people. And
mhm,
so like for us though, we are on a level where we still interact with them so they truly do. And some of these people I actually have befriended and talk to every day, but there are people that do believe that they know every single thing about you
mhm,
and believe that like you are best friends even when like you're not and you don't know them. And
mhm,
that's just the thing like with influencers, that's why it became so popular because they were relatable and because they weren't famous. They were just like your everyday person, and that was like why Emma Chamberlain, I've listened to so many podcasts like on like the influencer epidemic and whatever in parasocial relationships because like I am a nerd, but
no, I'm a nerd
like
too. I took a full ass college class called social media. So don't even
girl,
like you can't out
love it.
nerd me in this
Okay,
scenario.
okay, but yeah, like the fact that you can feel so connected to somebody you literally don't even know just because you're living vicariously through them and just seeing what they are giving you. It's crazy. Like they don't know my worst parts because I'm not gonna put those on there. I'm not gonna be like,
Mhm,
yeah, these are all the weird things that I do, you know, or what I'm doing at like 1 o'clock in the morning, or just all of the bad parts of you. You don't give them that. So it's like a toxic relationship where you're you are creating who you give to them, and they never they idolize that, and it's just a cycle.
Yeah, yeah, and it can be so damaging for your mental health, like, going back to what we were saying is, like, having body image and, like, working out as a content pillar, because that's what it is, like,
Yep.
it is a pillar in your brand, it is your niche, and so having to kind of parade that, especially when you're not doing well, can be so detrimental for your mental health, and so separating that is so important and something that we need to talk about more as content creators, especially for, like, the people who are just starting out who don't like, I never want someone to have to go through the trenches, like, how I had to learn, you know? I want to just be able to tell them and be like, "Protect yourself, protect your mental health, have these boundaries in place so that you don't have to learn the way that I did."
Yeah, no, exactly.
You told me, I think over text, that, like, you're looking for a job, you're not in school right now, and you
Yeah.
have decidedly not chose to do social media full time. Can you talk me through that decision?
Yes. So for me, such a good question. You have such good questions.
Oh, thank you. I was really
Yes.
nervous about that actually.
Really? No, you have
Yeah.
great questions. It's better than like, what's your favorite color? Then we're like laughing. We're like, mine's like Bahama Breeze.
Oh my god,
No, actually, mine's macaroni and cheese from the
I'm
Crayola
actually dead.
64 pack. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, I hear you. I literally
Okay.
hear you.
But so for me, I I am really, really bad. First off, about my anxiety would get really bad. And whenever my anxiety gets bad, I don't do anything I'm supposed to do. And I just also like don't respond to
Heard.
emails, don't respond to text messages. I shut everything out. But if I have like a real job, I can still go there and because the anxiety is also like always surrounded around like myself and like what I am creating or what I'm doing. So with social media, like when I'm having those days or those weeks, you I can't just like disappear if that's my job because for
Mhm.
like a few weeks there I was trying to make it my job and I was making like some money, but it was so exhausting and when I have like a workplace, I can go there and clock out. But like with
Mhm.
social media, there is never a clock out because you are the character, you are the monetization. So you can't clock out. And I'm not good at setting boundaries with that kind of stuff. So, but also I have always been a school person. I like love learning. I'm a nerd at heart. Like actually, I think that because I can't find a job right now, I legit think I'm about to just go work at the Books a Million so that because I just
I've always wanted to work at a bookstore. Like, did you see my
girl.
face? Just be like, "I love a
Okay,
bookstore."
I
Okay,
love
so you
this.
wanna work at a bookstore, you don't wanna do social media.
Yeah,
I
and
I completely agree. Like, I
yeah.
was thinking about doing social media full time last summer, and I was like, "What if I moved to Hawaii?" Okay, there's so many things wrong with that statement, right? But, like, what if I moved to Hawaii and was, like, an influencer, like Ava Jules type beat, lifestyle
Oh
content
yeah,
creator? First of all, why would I move to Hawaii? You know, let's, like the politics of people moving to Hawaii who have money and who just profit off of the land and the way Hawaii looks, that's a whole another conversation. But then I also realized that the power in what I do is not necessarily because I demand to have influence. It's because I'm a regular person who goes through my life and people enjoy, as we were talking about at the beginning, like the relatability of what I'm doing. And also, not that being an influencer is not ambitious, but I have a lot of other ambitious
yeah.
career goals that have nothing to do with Instagram and social media. Like, that's why I'm kind of here pursuing my master's. And that's not that it's a secret, but a lot of people also don't know that is like my master's has nothing to do with what I post on social media. It's not in psychology, it's not in mental health. I'm an economics student at heart, love economics. Ew, like you can't out nerd me. You literally cannot out nerd me. Um, and I am going into like mental health research in policy is what I hope, knock on wood, to get a job in. But it's because like I realize that like there's so much more power in seeing someone succeed in a space that is not social media, and there's so much
Yeah.
more like relatability of like, oh, you're also doing something and you choose to post. But like that then puts on a lot of pressure on like being a full-time content creator without the cash flow of it, and without the time as well
Yeah.
because you're doing something else is really, really hard.
Yeah, like also because I mean I just talked about this on my podcast, but I found that I was getting burnout because social media was the only thing I was doing,
Mm-hmm.
and because used to when I started posting, I did work full time and also was a full-time student, and I was going to social media as as my creative space. And slowly it stopped becoming that and it started to become a job, and that's when I stopped loving it. And also, it was doing better when I was using it as a creative space, but also I was in school and I had a job. And people like to know that you're not just somebody sitting in your room waking up at 12 p.m., like just
Mm-hmm.
doing nothing, just posting on your phone all day. Like, that's not relatable. Dude, people have jobs in school and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one problem with like the influencing world, which I talked about like in my episode. But it's just that
Is this out, by the way? Can I listen to it? Plug the podcast.
yes, yeah, it's the one, the influencer, the good, the bad, the bubbly.
Okay, okay. Listen,
But
IRL by Lex. IRL with Lex. Is that right?
yes,
Okay.
yes,
I'll link it
ma'am.
down in the podcast description. Everyone
You
check out
sound so
Lex's podcast.
professional.
Stop. Literally, I'm cosplaying as a professional podcaster. I have no idea what's going on.
Influencers start out relatable, and this is the whole thing about like Emma Chamberlain right now.
You and me, man, we have the same niche, like academic interest. It's not even academic. It's just like we love to listen to those educational podcasts that are like 15
Girl,
minutes
that's
about like
all I
the
can listen
rise and
to.
fall of Emma Chamberlain and why it worked and why it didn't. The crux of the argument is like people don't want to see you la 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 living your life in Hawaii. No, like that's not relatable. No one actually cares. Like, yes, it may be pretty, but like the actual crux of like why you are quote unquote influencer, like why you're creating content is not because that is your lifestyle. You do it because you love it, first and foremost. The money and
Absolutely,
everything
yeah.
is like such a bonus to what you love. Like all of the cool things is a bonus to what you love, which is just content creation. And then you have so much more to say because you do things outside of content. And what you're saying, like, I don't want my life to be, I'm looking at a phone, and that is what Instagram is. It's everything exists on a digital space. And so
Yep,
the more I can do offline and the more I can live in the moment and be with the people that I love, the more inspired creatively and just in general I will be able to show up as my best self on the internet.
yep, absolutely. I think it's one thing, and like I had the epiphany. Sounds so profound that like literally a phone can the whole entire internet could legit disappear.
Mm-hmm.
And I know realistically there's going to be people that are like, Alexis, that is not going to happen. Okay, well, like we saw Vine completely disappear.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all the social medias, like any platform could just like totally wiped off. And I don't want that thing to be my life because if it was, I would have no identity. Like that would be who I was. And if I lost that, like, I mean, I would have nothing. So I don't even tell people. People in real life don't even know that I have a social media. It usually will
Mm-hmm.
end up on their For You page, and then they'll come up to me and be like, "What the heck?" Or they'll send it to me. They're like, "Alexis, what the heck? Like, I did not know that you were famous." And I'm like, "That's good. That is such a good thing that you didn't know that because it means I don't give off that vibe. That means I don't act like I'm better than you." And that's all I could even ask for. So I think just if you're like if social media and your social status or presence becomes your personality, that's when you're screwed because
Mm-hmm.
then you're going to have no character anymore. You're not going
Mm-hmm.
to have content anymore because your content is going to be around you being famous. And like that's not enough.
I can't keep myself focused.
Girl, nope. Yeah, I'm not even going to. That's honestly it fits the buff unicorn.
Okay, wait, one of my questions was about Buff Unicorn, and I think I was on a live where you were like, I don't even like unicorns.
Yeah, okay, wait.
Talk
Wait.
to me about Buff Unicorn.
Okay. First of all, I just got to like look at this unicorn nutcracker. My
Oh
mom
my
got it for me.
God. That's
I'm
really
saying that this
sweet.
was my celebration for 1 year.
Okay,
It's
okay.
adorable.
It is
But
really
anyways,
cute. But you
So,
don't like unicorns.
no, actually, it's so funny. I think that this is honestly all just a God thing because I moved into my dorm last year. My roommate had a unicorn on the door. I'm like, what the heck is this? It was not the vibe.
Okay.
We were also like not really close, and I was like, wow, we look like children. Everybody else has their dorm all cute. We're all adults, you know. You know, whenever you first get out of high school and you're like, I want to be as adult as I can be, and I
Yes.
want to be independent, and I want to look like
Yes.
I have my life put together. Now I call myself a unicorn. Back then, I was like, absolutely not. Um, she ended up moving out for reasons, and this unicorn stayed on my door. So I'm in this dorm all by myself, which is also when I start my Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to April, I have like 50K. I'm at a arcade with my little sister and my family. They came and visited me at school, and I win this little mini unicorn. And I was like, "LOL, you guys!" On my story, should be the mascot for the page. It literally blew up and everybody was like, absolutely. So I was like, LOL. I'll just call myself the buff unicorn. So put it as my name as a joke, and everybody, I kid you not, was like, oh my gosh, please keep this. Because they were like, it fits your personality so well. Like you have muscle mass. Your honestly, your physique and demeanor do not match your personality.
Mm-hmm.
Because I used to be blonde, if you didn't know, platinum blonde for 4 years. Which does fit my personality a lot better. I'm very ditzy and sporadic. So,
I like the dark hair though. I think it
no,
looks
girl,
really
so do I.
good.
We are not, I'm not naturally blonde. So, but yeah, so that's when I came up with Buff and Bubbly. And then the Buff Unicorn, I realized because I love marketing as well, and that marketing is such a huge thing for success on social media, that nobody's going to be able to forget the name Buff Unicorn. Like, I have grown men asking me, what the, like, at my gym, they'll be like, so what is a Buff Unicorn? And
You're like, it's me.
yeah,
Me.
obviously like a me, but it's such a
Yeah.
good like story. And then also I think it's just such a good way for me to remind people that like it's not it is not that serious. Like life is not that serious, and like I have over 100,000 people, and I broadcast myself to adults that I call myself a freaking unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was just from a little figurine.
Okay. I mean, it is snazzy, and now it's like what your Gymshark discount
I
code is Buff
know.
Unicorn.
I know. I have
Yeah.
grown men that will like, or like my guy friends, and they'll like screenshot. They're like, use code Buff Unicorn at checkout. And I'm like, that is a sign. If they can use code Buff Unicorn at checkout, it means they are not toxic, masculine men.
Mm-hmm.
They're in
Mm-hmm.
touch with their feminine.
100%. And so speaking of Gymshark, one of the questions that I sent you was tell me the story of you becoming sponsored by Gymshark. I personally know it, but
Yes.
I think that the story itself is so inspiring.
I love that you think that, because like honestly,
That's how I
so
found you. Okay, I think I found you on like day 2 or something.
that's actually hilarious. I think that's like the day that like I had my niece on my back. But
Probably something like that.
I was doing crazy stuff. So one thing about me, I've always been really good at like finding ways to go viral, which sounds like so bad, but there's a difference between like creating a community and just doing something that's viral. And I know that doing things for a number of days would do that. And at the
Mm-hmm.
time also, I said in January, I told my followers, I was like, I will, it's not a matter of if, but when. I will
Mm-hmm.
work with Gymshark. And it was July, and I was like, okay, we're heading up on half a year and I still don't have this. And I followed people that were working with them, and they had less engagement and less followers than me, which doesn't even matter, but I was like, okay, so there has to be, I just need to get their attention. I DM'd them so many times, never responded. Even Whitney Simmons like would respond to me, and Gymshark wouldn't. And I'm like, I'm
I
sorry.
love Whitney
I
Simmons.
love Whitney. Whitney is my mommy. so, so I was like, okay, I need to do something. I was like, I'm not gonna do squats because somehow that can always get turned into something weird.
Mm-hmm.
I was like push-ups because a lot of people don't see girls doing push-ups, and I have great
Mm-hmm.
form.
You do have
So
really good form.
thank you. Like the men were commenting, and like that's what I knew. I was like, yes. So I just started doing it every day, and I was doing them different ways. Oh, the one that went viral was me doing like a front walkover into push-ups, and that was the one that went viral, and everybody was screenshotting that they were sending it to Gymshark. I literally had people screenshot their Gymshark like checkout and type buff unicorn in it and send it to Gymshark and say they were not buying it until I had a code. Like it was
Wow.
crazy. The amount of
Wow.
dedication. I and then day 13, um, I got an email from my Gymshark manager now, which is so funny. And she was like, "Hey, like we just like checked you out. We would love to work with you, blah blah blah, just talk about some stuff." I was like, I thought it was a joke. And yeah, here I am now.
I mean, maybe like to close it all out, what are some of the positives that you've seen with like your Instagram influence, especially since 1 year? Like, let's do some like end of year reflections and also like 1 year anniversary reflections. Like, how has it been for you?
Okay, so great question. Honestly, social media, so first off, has allowed me to see that you're really not ever as alone as you think that you are. So many
Mm-hmm.
people feel the exact same way as you. And I think that if you can either choose to sit there and feel like you're alone, or you can go and search for people that can either help you or that feel the same and you can get better together. Um, it has taught me this year so much that, like I said, I am somebody that isolates really bad because I don't want to burden other people with my problems. And I've found that literally community is so important for well-being as humans. I mean, that's what we were biologically hardwired for, is community and communication. And one thing I will say is that I do think that I like rely too heavily on social media as my form of communication, but at the same time, it has created like me being able to go to Houston, me meeting all these people, me meeting you, meeting
Mm-hmm.
people that just have like such like minds, and then again remind me that like I'm not alone in how I feel and that I'm not weird because I like listening to podcasts on parasocial relationships. But yeah, like it's just beautiful. I think that there's so many negative things, but at the same time, like it is so beautiful to see how much value really does come from something like a freaking
A
phone.
phone. Sometimes when and not to use this to like invalidate my problems, but sometimes I'm like, oh my God, social media is like taking over my life. And I'm like, it's this. It is
Yeah,
my phone. Like, I can put it down and I can live. And like, my problems can, not that it will go away, but it will lessen if I
yep,
just give it less attention.
exactly. Yeah, your problems are what you give attention to. And like for me, every time I start feeling like that, I legit just go outside and start going on a walk. Cause I'm like,
Hmm.
whenever you get into nature and like you just become, I sound like a yogi right now.
I'm listening, literally like
Or that's why I love
internalizing what you're
music, actually.
saying.
Fun, like that's why I love music, because like it allows you to just be be incorporated into your environment. Like your phone, you are entering an environment, but like when you're in the present, you are one of it. And I think that's like, oh, that just helps me. That's why I like reading too, but you
Mm-hmm.
get that.
Yes. Well, thank you, Lex, for coming on the podcast. Like, you're my first guest. Honestly, thank you for saying the thing about the questions. It's going to stick with me in a very positive manner because I had imposter syndrome about this podcast. Like, I'm like, and I was telling everyone, I was like, who am I? And I'm going to share this publicly because I think there's something about vulnerability that is so tangible and also like so helpful. And that
Yeah,
is the core essence of the podcast is like let's make vulnerability a thing. Let's like destigmatize the human experience. I was nervous because I had imposter syndrome and I'm still working through that imposter syndrome and being like who am I to invite these cool people and have a conversation and like be able to pick their brains about specific things that I care about. And you have made the first, recording of the podcast go so smoothly, have so much fun, even though we had technical difficulties at the beginning.
yeah.
Honestly, just like thank you from the bottom of my heart, from one person to another. Like, thank you,
That is so okay. Well, you're the first person that's ever asked me to come on to a podcast. So,
which
like,
is
for me,
ridiculous. I think you should be on
girl,
every
stop,
podcast.
stop. Don't hype me up. It's okay. I get so sidetracked. Honestly, I'm very happy that like you were my first person that asked me because like I didn't feel bad for being everywhere. Um, so thank you for making me feel welcomed. You're a great host.
Oh my God, of course. And All of Lex's like handles, all of your social media will be linked down below, but give yourself 30 seconds, plug whatever you want in this space.
Okay. Um, if you want to buy anything at Gymshark or this, if you like supporting small businesses, this small new athleisure apparel brand called Divine. Honestly, I don't really talk about a lot of things, but they are my favorite thing right now. I am actually wearing one of their t-shirts and these joggers. If you want to use code Buff Unicorn there as well, they're very cheap, very affordable if you're a broke college student, like almost probably all of us are. But yeah, I hope you know that you are worthy of good things. That's what I want to leave with you today.
Thank you, Lex. Thank you again.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Solidarity on the Bench with KDU. If you enjoyed this podcast or want to submit a question for future guests, you can follow the podcast Instagram at SolidarityPod or follow the host at katie.eu. See you next Tuesday.